because you are in for something special.
You got the countdown meter and everything.
Something like that.
Should have it go into Chinese too.
Oh, that I remember. That's you.
What's up? I'm Sam Maxon, aka Slammin' Sam. I'm a DJ, actor, philanthropist, self-proclaimed Renaissance man. When I'm not in the studio, I'm diving into my hobbies and exploring many interests. With that comes my personal, uncensored insights on everything. Ready? This is The Slam Show.
Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another edition of The Slam Show. I am the main man, Slammin' Sam, for this March 28th, 2016. And gosh, I'm so excited. Just being on the pre-show, talking with our special guests in the house, it is just like going down memory lane. Not only that, it's just so many points and discussions. It's just unbelievable. I'm so glad that they're here. But before I get into anything, I want to give major props out to our sponsor caterer tonight. It is Mello's Pizza over in Pleasant Hill. Ryan Muller, thank you very much. He's the main man. So mention the Slam Show over at Mello's Pizza in Pleasant Hill for a big discount. All right. Before I get into anything, I want to go ahead and mention my weekend DJ schedule. On Friday, I'll be over at Wild Idol Saloon over in Byron. Yes, Rick, there is a place over in Byron that they rock it like crazy. And on Saturday, Church Ward Pub over in Alameda. Be sure to come check me out. Both are all dress code relaxed and no cover charge. So come out and support. Yeah,
I like that.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. I hope to see you, TJ. If you're not, oh, I hear a phone dropping, but it's all good. We're going to pick that up later. All right. Before I get into anything, I'd like to go ahead and have my guests in the house introduce themselves. We'll go ahead and start with the lovely lady at the end.
DJ West Carolina.
And next, we're going in order.
Okay. DJ Rick Lee, SBC Djs, 106 KMEL, and I sometimes go there.
The magnificent TJ Maxx, world famous SBC Djs.
Right on, gentlemen. Thank you very much for coming on to the program. Rick, it's been a long time coming.
I know. I ain't seen you in what, about 3 years?
Something like, wait, we saw
be a little bit longer. I think it's a good 3 years. Yeah.
You sure? Because we saw each other randomly over at Universal Studios in Hollywood. Ladies and gentlemen, this was just fucking random. It's like, wait a second, he's like posting stuff on social media. Like, Universal.
Like, I know that.
Yeah, we're here. So I hit you up.
I know that minion. I think I just saw him.
So yeah, it was pretty cool just being able to know that great minds think alike. Yeah. Frequency was on a high level. We were both there, taking our time off from doing the gigs.
Exactly.
It was beautiful. Did you have a good time when you were there?
Yeah, I mean, I haven't been there in like hella long. I want to say probably like 5 years previously. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Same
it was good to get out, you know what I mean? And
did you
check out what you missed for the past couple of years that have been over at Universal Studios?
Yeah, they're always adding something every year.
And then after that, I bounced over out to Disneyland. Did you guys hit Disneyland?
No, we did not.
You didn't?
No. We were just like, we're going to stick it here and work it through.
Yeah.
We should just hung out with you the whole time.
You should have.
Well, thank you, Rick, for being able to come down. And as everyone introduced themselves, we have TJ and DJ Carolina, both from SBC. TJ here to my left has been a dedicated member of the company for the longest. And props out to you, brother, for being able to stay in the game for so long, being Rick Lee's right-hand man and doing all sorts of stuff. I can't wait till we get into it, especially your sports pedigree. It's phenomenal. And the newcomer here, DJ Carolina, you do a lot of miscellaneous duties, but you're also going to work the whole DJ aspect, taking lessons from the Dragon here. How does that work for you? Are you excited about it?
Oh, yeah. It's incredible.
The incredible. I like that. Not incredible.
It's not even just good. It's incredible. Yeah. That's when you know it's a good experience.
Exactly. So before we get into the interview, I want to go ahead and give props out. The interview segment is sponsored by Etero Real Estate. If you need to have anything evaluated, your house, you're selling a house, what have you, contact Rusty Woodruff at 925-584-9898. She'll give you a free evaluation. Mention the Slam Show, and you'll be all hooked up. Rusty Woodruff, 925-584-9898. Did you pick up your phone yet?
Yeah, I did.
I think we got you off camera so no one
Yeah,
sees that
just-
little action.
Just vibrate right off the seat where.
Because you know the camera view now. It's like, all right, when I know it's off me, I could go ahead and reach over or pick my nose or what
Yeah,
have you.
It's not my first rodeo.
Exactly. You're a veteran, brother. Like I was telling Rick, man, you messed up because now I found a co-host right here.
Oh, yes, it's just not talking about DJing, it's going to sports.
I love it. I love it. So let's get to the main man, Rick.
Yeah.
Once again, I'm so glad that you're able to come on the program. I've been asking you for years, but because you're scheduling, I know you're not like, oh, I don't want to come on the Sam show.
Right.
It's just you're so busy.
I'm busy.
Yeah.
7 days a week at 106 KMEL. You know,
Yeah.
shout out to them. Keeping me rocking. I'm going on to my 22nd year,
22 years.
unless I'm counting wrong.
22 years strong.
About 22 years.
You,
Yeah.
you got to lean over to TJ to confirm that because he has pointed out your memory loss at times.
TJ confirms it. 22 years.
Yeah.
Now, let's back up a little bit.
Yep.
How did you get into the whole love of music, first of all? Because before you start putting that record on that turntable, there has to be some type of
it was
connection.
probably when b-boying hit the scene out here.
Did you b-boy?
Yeah.
Really?
Yep. I was really into breakdancing. And the breakdancing is connected to, of course, the DJing.
Yeah, yeah.
I was like, oh, that's kind of tight too, but which one do I want to do?
Well, all right, let's back up to that because this is totally new. This is
Yeah.
what
Oh,
types?
you weren't aware of that?
No.
Yeah.
No.
I was into
I think we're
breakdancing.
all. I think majority of
A
people.
lot of
from-
the kids from Daly City
We were all b-boys.
That's how a lot of the DJing kind of broke out to be mainstream. You know what I mean?
Gotcha.
'Cause the DJ had to go with the breakdancing. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Well,
Some
let-
of the
Had to
whack
play the music,
DJ
yeah.
and the breakdancer was weak too.
Well, quit cutting me off because I want to go into this real quick.
Okay.
I'm just kidding. What moves were you pretty effective? Because I mean, I could pop, I could do certain things, I could do some footwork.
Probably flaring and
Flaring?
and crabbing.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
You were
Rick was
pretty
a beast.
efficient.
Rick was a
Yeah.
beast.
Is there any videos, TJ?
Nah.
Yeah,
you know what?
I-
I think there is.
Actually, there is.
There is.
There
We gotta
is
get it from
videos
that
of
part.
Rick
Yeah,
Lee
so
We gotta
breakdancing.
get it from some person.
There's a long story, but we got somebody who's holding our tapes hostage. But it's all right. It's all right.
Oh
get it one
man.
day.
Yeah, but one day when we get them back, yeah, I
Now-
think we got some. I got a funny story about Rick
Go.
breakdancing. So like, we were doing this. I don't know. I think it was a
probably don't
rave.
even
Was it?
remember
Remember it was
this.
a rave? And we
A
doubled-
rave.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so we did
Oh, my
we
God.
did sound for a rave. So it was just a sound gig. No
Gotcha,
no
gotcha.
DJing, just sound reinforcement.
Yeah.
And we needed to park, and this guy was trying to pull out while we were pulling in, and we're
Oh
kind of
my
looking for the
God.
address. Mind you, this is before, GPS. So we kind of pull up, and then Rick was like kind of looking, and I was like, "Hey, this dude's trying to get out. This dude's trying to get out."
Oh my God. I
And
do remember
this guy
one.
was hella honking at Ricky, and Ricky got pissed off and was like, "What, dude? What?" It's just.
And, was this when Ricky had his hair?
Yeah, probably. Yeah, no, yeah. This one he had curls.
Oh,
So he
yeah,
had the
yeah,
gold
yeah.
curls. So Ricky gets out the car and starts yelling at this man who was just trying to get out, but it was his road rage, all right. So then Ricky jumps on this guy's car and starts breakdancing on his hood of his
Oh,
car.
shit.
my
I remember
God.
that. I started
And
flaring on
he
his
started
car.
flaring on his car. He's flaring on the hood of his.
So you know how
Stop
like
laughing.
when people have road rage on the freeway, they usually
So
punch each other.
the dude
That's
was kind of the
right.
dude.
So I was like, I'm gonna do some crazy shit
Yeah.
this guy won't even expect. I jumped on his hood instead of
'Cause the
punching him.
dude
I
was-
started
Oh my
flaring.
yeah,
on
dude
his
was kind
hood.
of obnoxious, and he kind of deserved it. But Ricky started flaring on dude's hood. I couldn't stop laughing.
They
I
were
thought
like,
that-
"Oh my God,
thought
did
that
you
was
just
a-
do that?"
I was like, oh man, let's get
Oh
out of here.
man, just think if we had our cell phones ready
I
at that
know.
point.
Oh, that would have
My
been perfect.
God.
That'd have been.
Man.
People would have.
You know what? Back in the day, I wish like we took more footage and
Yeah,
pictures and
yeah.
of things that we did back in the day.
Yeah.
That
I'm sure
would've-
you have a good handful though of miscellaneous stuff.
It's
So
just
we
random.
Now we
Yeah.
just got
Yeah.
we got some stuff. We got little things here and there, but
Yeah.
for the most part, we just got goofy stories
Yeah.
to tell.
we got the stories. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So
That is a crazy
Is that
ass
crazy or
story.
what?
Yeah. So the guy,
yeah,
he didn't
so-
like want to kick your ass or
No,
anything. Or
that's
just,
kind of how it started. He kind of was like threatening us.
yeah,
It
the
just-
Yeah.
guy,
it
the
just-
guy
it-
wanted to
it-
beat me
Yeah,
up.
it became from honking at us to like I'm gonna like murder you guys, and we're like what?
So I got sarcastic
yeah.
and jumped on his hood and busted a flare. And, I'm like,
And he couldn't go
"Whoa."
anywhere, so he
Everyone
was
was
stuck
like, "You just didn't do that, did you?" I did.
Yeah.
So did it diffuse the situation or what?
I can't remember what happened.
don't
What
know.
happened?
I think the dude was like, "Man, this guy's there's
He's
something
nuts,
wrong in
yeah,
his
so
head.
he kinda-
It's time to bounce."
Yeah.
So it de-escalated due to that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, so
Oh, well, there you
again,
go, ladies and
once
gentlemen.
There you
again,
go.
breakdancing saved
I
the
gave
day.
him a show, and he was like, "Hey, I'm bounce. Thanks."
Yeah.
Peace.
There you go, ladies and gentlemen. When you're in a confrontation, just freaking do some breakdance
There
moves.
you go.
That's it.
Yeah.
And everything will be fine. None of this
So
violent stuff.
I can vouch Ricky was a good breakdancer.
Yeah. So b-boying led into the DJing, and
Yeah.
then the movie Beat Street and all
Phenomenal.
the break-in and all that
Mhm.
stuff that really enhanced like the DJ side and the break-in.
and the scene, yeah,
You
the
know
whole
what I
scene
mean?
just kind of
Yeah.
it's a trip. I mean, Sam, you know better than all of us too that at that time everything was coming together. Breakdancing, graffiti, DJing, beatboxing, rapping, all of it was coming
Yeah.
together at that same time. You know what they call the four elements, and that's the time, and we were fortunate to find our niche and get in there as DJs.
We were just born at the right time, ladies and gentlemen.
Exactly.
That's
yeah,
it.
Yeah, it was a perfect storm for all of us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And all of those elements were great. It was just like, damn, which one did like at a candy store, you got to pick
Picking
just
yeah,
one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's great that
'cause
you
we
can
wanted to be
try to
part of it,
consume
yeah.
all of them.
Yeah.
But it was just like so much excitement and stuff going on at the time. You really had to like, okay, pick your lane and be good at
Exactly.
it. You know
And
what I mean?
just to add on with the whole breakdance thing,
Yeah.
I try to do my very best, right?
Yeah.
But when I couldn't flare, I'm like, fuck, man, I'm just freaking, I can't do it because you have to have that package.
No, I feel you, dude. Because
Yeah.
I was,
It's like
I was
you could-
skinnier and I was more active and I was out there and I was
Yeah.
trying to do my moves and I had my little struts on.
Yeah.
And I was doing my pops but then I got on. I was like, man, I do like half a spin. I
Yeah.
was like, screw this. you
Yeah,
know?
exactly.
And that's how
Exactly. So-
actually, if it wasn't for being a bad breakdancer, I would never became a DJ.
So probably at the age of 15, I was doing that, trying to find my way, and I probably carried it probably till I was like 17, 18,
Mhm.
and then I ran into DJing as well as along the way,
Mhm.
as breakdancing, and then the breakdancing stuff, like TJ was saying, you start to get hurt. You know what I mean? I was like, man, I was starting to get beat up.
Really?
Yeah,
But you're
like-
only what? You're a
but
teen, though.
You
You're
take
invincible.
you take a lot of bruises on the floor that people don't see. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
You're like,
so
oh, fuck.
yeah.
I got played off.
I don't know what it was. It just kind of drove me towards more of the music, and I just really like looked into DJing and stuff like that. And
Gotcha.
Daly City just really popped off with
Yeah.
the DJing stuff, so I kind of went that route.
Now, like for myself, for
Yeah.
example, I wasn't. My parents didn't have a whole lot of money.
Yeah.
Couldn't get like the 1200s or the
And
new
you've
market
always lived in the city of Pittsburgh, I'm assuming.
Yes.
This whole
all my life, and I had to find some way of earning cash to get the right equipment.
Yeah.
Was it easy for you to start off with the right equipment?
Actually, I'm glad that you talk
Yeah.
about that because I literally had to go into my parents' when they weren't sleeping, I would steal steal all their stereo equipment.
Okay.
That's
okay.
how- that's how-
To be able to go DJ a party to come back with any cash to buy anything.
Okay. So this would be like one of those
late
com-
at- the-
component with
yeah,
with
yeah,
everything
like-
all in one.
No.
Nah,
It'd be
this
a
would be-
turntable. That's when they have like the
You would
stereo
have to
system. You
actually
have the
have- yeah.
turntable, the amp.
Yes.
So you
yeah.
had-
The
you had
whole
pieces,
like
so
stack thing.
You
Yeah.
Well, my parents had all the separate pieces, so I
Yes,
would have
yeah,
to
exactly.
take what
So
I
if-
would need. So I would like.
if you were
know,
lucky, you had the separate pieces. Like
Yeah.
like my family had.
you had the whole one.
No,
one,
we had,
all in
no,
one
we,
joint.
we had the Technique turntable. No, excuse me, Pioneer. We had Pioneer. Pioneer turntable, Pioneer, different layers. So we did the same thing. So we took one from my parents' house and then took the other one from my grandmother's house. So we had the JVC on one side, Pioneer on the other.
Yeah. Mix it
And
up.
And the only thing,
and back then, 1200s were so expensive. Like coming out of high school or going into high school, I just couldn't afford that.
Yeah.
Like
Mm-hmm.
I'd really have to rob a bank in order to get what I want. You know what I mean? And so my parents had a belt-driven. I think it was an Audio Technica.
I'm
And
familiar with the
every
belt
time-
driven.
I mean, this was a real rough belt drive. because every
Yeah.
time you put your
It
hand
just-
on it,
it just popped.
it probably bounced up like 10 feet. And you're like,
as
whoa!
soon as you did that, it would just pop up.
So
Yeah,
you really
yeah,
had
yeah.
I really had to learn how to be like creative and really like be gentle and swift on those kinds of turntables.
Yeah.
I was like, man, I got to get to the 1200s, the
Yeah.
real turntables that all the real DJs use. But
Now, did you do like school dances with this equipment, or was it mainly house
I
parties?
started.
or
off-
it wasn't whatever, anything.
I did my first house party, which was probably no more than about 2 blocks
Mm-hmm.
up the street from me.
Did you put
I
it in like a
every-
wagon and pulled
I
it
put
over
in
there?
I put it in a shopping cart.
Yeah.
I did the same thing. I did the same
Anything
thing.
that had wheels.
Yeah. I did the same thing.
I'd put it in there and then ask a couple buddies after after school. Hey, can you help me? I got a party up the block. I can't roll this all up, up there by myself. And I lived on a steep hill, so the hill had probably like a 45-degree angle.
I got
there.
lucky.
Oh my goodness.
So it wasn't flat where I could just roll it and it'd go to someone's houses. It was like this steep hill I had to get to. So.
Our first gig, me and Bobby, was about a half a mile away.
Yeah.
And we had 2 shopping carts.
Wow.
And then the records was delivered to us by my uncle. But the gear we had to take the shopping carts.
That's how a lot of DJs back
Yeah.
in the days
I
started
would
out,
crack
like,
up now.
The shopping cart.
Unless your parents were willing to take you out and go buy all
It must
that
have been
stuff
it
for
must
you,
have
you
been
know?
a sight to see, because I would crack up right now if I saw kids cruising in shopping carts
Yeah.
with gear. I would
Yeah.
think that's what the hell are you guys doing? You know what I mean?
Exactly.
But to think we did that and had like no shame about it, that was like it was.
So let's talk about what we use for lights. They'd really pee in their pants.
Oh, I'll tell you what my crew did. We went, yeah, it was illegal. Put to you that way.
Yeah, okay. So we all agree we did the same thing, but
The illegal thing.
We even did one step further where we made our own boxes with
Yeah.
colored lights and
Yeah.
switches, and we just have somebody there switching all day long.
We had that same
So
concept as well.
We would just have
Yeah.
switching on.
So, ladies and
So-
gentlemen, we used to use those traffic signs on the street.
Yep.
I don't want to say we took them from police
We didn't.
vehicles.
We borrowed
or-
them.
Absolutely not.
Hey, honestly, I was a
Or
cool
security
cat. I would
vehicles.
like actually take them when you're not supposed to, and I would return them right after the party.
No
God,
way.
I swear to
Adam.
God.
What a
And you know what's
freaking angel Rick
Hey,
Lee
and
tall
the
is.
tale
city
right
would put 2 back there because they thought it was missing. And I was like, oh, I came up on 2, and I just go home. But I at least tried to make the attempt to put it back.
The lights on
You
the
know what I mean?
barricades.
So I
and
really didn't take them.
Yeah.
Take them.
Yeah.
took the lights on the
Technically.
barricades.
Yeah, the
too.
barricades.
Yeah,
Is that
barricade
what you call
lights.
them?
The lights from the barricades.
Yeah.
Same with us. And I think we had one story where one of my buddies hopped over one of the police stations. I don't give a fuck because this was decades ago.
Yeah.
Went and unscrewed a siren from the top of a freaking police car.
And you know what? Those were the lights to get if you were willing to lose your life over
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
For some reason, he was able to do it, and there you go.
So in Daly City, we live by a police station too, so that happened over there.
Hey, it happens. Humble beginnings, ladies and
Yeah,
gentlemen.
yeah.
Once again, we are with DJ Rick Lee of SBC Djs 106 KMEL,
Yeah.
along with TJ and
West Carolina.
West-
yes,
Carolina.
yes,
Yeah.
the
Lena.
Panther lover. All right, so let's all agree that we had the humble beginnings. Now let's kind of fast forward a tad bit to the professional element. When it came down to it, Rick, you are the founder, creator of SBC Djs. Let's get down to the nitty gritty. How did you come up with the name?
The name came from a graffiti artist that I went to high school in, which was Westmore High School. That's out in Daly City. It looks like a prison now. Y'all
How'd you
ain't
do in
been
high
there.
school?
I barely
3.0?
graduated.
Okay, okay,
I
okay.
barely graduated.
2.0.
All because of DJing, really. Like
Gotcha.
I was actually
School's overrated.
I
It's all
was
good.
actually getting great grades, and then
So you're like 4.0, and when you start DJing, it
nah,
just
not
plummeted.
to the 4.0
Right,
part.
right.
A C plus maybe.
And then from C plus to C minus.
C minus down to F plus. But yeah, I barely made it out of high school. But I made it. I didn't get to graduate on stage. I got my diploma in the mail straight from the UPS guy.
Oh, walking stage
I
is
was
overrated.
short just a 0.1 credit.
Ah,
Yeah.
who was the
that's
teacher that
killer.
didn't do it for you?
I can't remember. Do you remember the principal at that time?
No. Delvon? No. I can't remember.
Anyways, yeah.
So I
Shout
met,
out to my.
I met Rick in high school.
Yeah.
Okay, okay.
So I was a freshman and Ricky was a senior.
Yeah. TJ went to the same high school.
Mhm.
Yeah, so we actually started, crazy story, but we all started from the same DJ group, but we weren't in at the same time.
Okay.
So Rick Lee had a group with somebody else called Total Control.
Total control. Got it.
And then they split up from Total Control and started SBC.
Mm-hmm.
And then we joined Total Control.
Okay, okay.
And then we actually battled SBC.
You battled Rick.
Yeah.
Battled Rick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really? Like
Yeah.
a straight up freaking DMC
Just
championship
one-
going.
One
Yeah,
side.
I think a lot
No,
of
no,
kids.
not even.
I think a
not
lot of
even- yeah. So
kids
the-
and people today don't understand that
See,
we had to
when
battle
people,
back
when people
in the day,
say
you know?
battle nowadays, they think, oh, you guys
Two
had
turntables.
two
and a
turntables.
mixer.
No, we actually had one half of the
Your
the
house.
auditorium. They
Or
had
in
the
your
other
house.
half, and we brought all of our equipment out.
Yeah,
all
the
our
showcase
speakers,
style.
Yeah, brought
Got
all
it.
our speakers.
Yeah.
So
Who had the best lights and the best loudest
we
system.
we were for that time we were relatively young because we were freshmen, so we was only like 14, 15 years old.
Yeah.
Or 14 years old, and they were like 17. You know what I mean? So we were very young, and so the guy that we linked up with, he was like, you know, like the leader. You know what I mean? He was like, it's my group. We're Total Control. And
Yeah.
And so Bobby wasn't able to DJ. I wasn't able to DJ. So it was him versus Ricky. And that's
Okay.
probably why Ricky won, because if it was us, he probably would have lost.
Get our viewers up to
forgot we deviated out of the same.
Yeah, so
uh,
we ended up bouncing because of the same reason.
we
Oh, just
came
just
out of
really
the same
quick,
group.
TJ,
Yeah.
just kind of let our viewers know who Bobby is.
DJ Bobby Speed, God rest his
Yeah, we
soul.
love you, man. Rest in peace.
Rest in peace, Bobby. That's my brother right there. He passed away in 2010. That's
He was one of the cats that,
Yes.
that
yeah.
were early in SBC
He's one of
that-
the.
I
one of the-
still
a
have
lot
your
of people-
business card where it says Bobby
you
Speed
do?
on it.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
damn.
He's
Yeah.
one of the
Yeah.
the founding members, as well as Rick Lee of the DJ scene in Daly City.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, he's
So
he
every
was
day I
one of-
lay down my records, I think about him for like
Yeah,
There you go.
yeah.
right up in my head.
Bobby
beautiful.
Bobby's just like Ricky. Rick, you know, cool, humble cats. You know, just very mellow and easygoing.
That's awesome. That's
Yeah.
awesome. And as far as you guys being able to come together, how was that something that after the whole showcase battle, you guys,
So
okay, let's just go
there-
ahead and
there
join forces?
There wasn't any animosity at that time because we were freshmen, and
Yeah.
basically we had just jumped into this crew, and then they had a beef with the leader, and so they were battling, and we didn't know about the beef.
Right.
You know what I mean? So we were still trying to find like friends. You know what I mean? It was new high school, so you know we're freshmen, and you know we got to meet people. So I actually became real good friends with people in SBC and his crew.
Mm-hmm.
So when we battled each other, for me it was fun and games. You know what I mean?
Gotcha.
We didn't take anything serious. Afterwards, when we found, because even Ricky was the first one to tell us, like, "Hey man, you know, you probably guys should do your own. You guys are good kids. Do your own thing." And we took his advice, and we started our own crew, and we actually all hung out. You know, so my crew was called Spinning Images.
Mm-hmm.
Hung out with Ricky's crew, and we were all friends. And there was times where like,
We had a lot of mutual friends.
Yeah, we
That's
had a
what
lot-
kind of probably glued
yeah,
the
and we
whole
and we
thing
hung
together.
out tough. I mean, like from like '86 to like
So when you say tough, meaning
we hung out
Like,
like
okay.
we hung out
Day and night.
day and night. We
oh
hung
wow,
out, yeah.
wow.
It's just because we were younger. I mean, now we're adults. It's kind of hard to correlate the difference of ages. But when you're 14 and somebody's 17,
Yeah,
you have a crazy different of.
Yeah, and I was a lot older.
He was, you know, at that time 17's crazy
Yeah.
older. You know,
Yeah.
we were very immature, very very rough around the edges.
mm-hmm.
Inner city kids. These are good kids from good neighborhoods, and we were punks in every sense of the word.
Hey,
You know, we were punks, and I got along with the punks in his crew. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And we like to do punk shit. You know what I mean?
yeah,
And
kids are gonna be kids.
So eventually, that became our problem. Bobby was a good DJ with a good head on his shoulder. Ricky was a good DJ with his head on his shoulder. I was a punk.
okay.
And Ricky stopped liking me.
I can't even look at
That's-
you as a
that's-
punk. You look like a
he's
totally
actually
good
got
guy.
a good point because, you know, we use DJing to stay out of trouble because
There you go.
you know, when you're young, you hang around a rough. You don't know who's really your friend. Like
Yeah,
the guy
yeah,
next to you
Yeah.
selling drugs. This guy's
Yeah.
an alcohol. So we had a lot of those kind of people
Yeah,
that hung around us, but we just had to grow up and learn.
Yeah. So
You know what I'm saying?
we learned the hard way. So me and Ricky, personally, me and Ricky got into altercations
Mm.
of and not got along, and so there was a separation from like 90 to like 92.
mm-hmm.
We even
and-
fought.
We
Too.
even got to fist fights.
Yeah.
What was this over a girl?
No.
No.
Over DJing.
Really?
Yeah, over me saying their crew's weak and him
Yeah.
saying you guys.
So
ain't-
Rick, you didn't try to diffuse it by just
You
break
didn't-
dancing?
You know what?
don't-
Yeah, I didn't even
this
get a
is-
chance to bust the 1990.
this is how.
So you guys fought.
Yeah, this is
Yeah,
how
can you
young.
believe it?
This is
What,
how.
was this like Captain America Civil War fighting like
actually-
bashing?
This is-
Actually, you know what? Our fighting was probably like the Batman and Superman movie, where at the end it kind of brought
Come
the
on,
two
I haven't seen it.
together.
Hold on, la.
Oh.
I haven't seen it.
I haven't seen it yet.
Oh, my
I haven't
bad.
seen it.
Oh,
but-
Don't spoil it.
Wait,
My
but-
bad.
But there was one fight that was pretty good between him and I.
Okay.
You know, so that
So
was,
you had several fights in your
no, we
friendships.
had two and a half. I'm explaining one.
Okay.
So we had 2.5 fights. So we had one good one.
I can't believe we're even
Yeah.
explaining.
Hold on, let me
It's
bring
all
it-
good.
Let me bring it back to the half one, because the half one just shows how immature, how young-minded, and how business Ricky is.
Gotcha.
We called him up to rent. Bobby called Ricky to rent something,
Mm-hmm.
and Ricky's like, "Sure, I'll rent it to you."
Okay.
I went to go pick it up.
Okay.
I go pay him the money to pick it up, and then he pushes me down the steps.
That's right. I took
Why?
I took his money and I was like, on top of renting you the speakers before you leave, I'm gonna kick your ass.
Yeah.
Why did you
Why?
do that?
Because I heard he was talking shit.
Yeah.
And
Which
actually,
I
was.
actually,
Which I was.
actually,
Yeah,
back
yeah,
then,
yeah.
TJ was known for running his mouth.
Oh, yeah.
Gotcha.
And I was
gotcha.
like, you know what? I'll be a cool dude. I'll still rent you the speakers, and I'll still come out.
Yeah.
Oh,
So-
that's
so two
that's
things-
smart.
Two
That's
thi-
smart.
Two things happened. One, it wasn't speakers. It was lights.
Oh, lights.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the second thing, he didn't kick my ass. He pushed me down the steps. You
Yeah,
know
yeah.
what I mean? Like,
Now, was it a
no,
long
no,
flight
no,
of stairs, or
like,
was it like
I was
4 or
kinda-
5 steps?
It was like 2 or 3. You know what I mean?
Oh, you're making it seem like it's like
No,
some
no,
type
no.
of mansion steps
But see,
and going
he was
down.
smart because he pushed me when the lights were on the floor at the base of the
Oh my
stairs,
gosh.
so I wasn't holding it.
Yeah.
And then
So he was
I
already
landed
thinking.
on my ass, and I was like, what the
Yeah.
fuck?
I was
You know
like,
what
go
mean?
ahead, drop
He's-
those
he-
lights, and
yeah.
not only the rent you will pay me for the lights, you'll have to buy me the lights because you broke them.
Yeah, so he was like, I heard you talking shit, and I was like, yeah.
Great
And
businessman,
so,
right?
You know, and
Beautiful.
so then
Beautifully
that-
done there, Rick.
So then it was like, so it was confusing for me. So I get pushed down some steps, and then he was like, yeah, and bring it back tomorrow. It's like, all right.
That was funny.
So,
so
th-
then-
so
so-
did that all just diffuse on its own? Just like, okay,
Yeah,
this is just so fucking unusual that it has to be right.
We got these fights out of our system.
Mhm.
You know,
That's beautiful.
Yeah. So again, the crazy part about it is we were all friends within our crews. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So there was a time, and during this animosity between two of us, we had crew members that left our group to join his,
Mm-hmm.
and vice versa.
Mm-hmm.
So you know, it was a tug of war, and you know, it's that old thing. If you can't beat them, join them. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
there was a lot of times we both went to the same interviews to get the same gigs. Some he got, some we got,
Mm-hmm.
and then it got to the point where we were doing very well. He was doing very well, and then our group started. We were finding out who was real DJs and who wasn't.
Right.
Who was about the business and wasn't. By then, I grew up. I learned to be a good businessman within the DJ business. Bobby became a very outstanding DJ. We started forming our niche, and then one day at Denny's, we sat across from Ricky at Westboro Denny's,
Westboro Denny's,
And,
ladies and gentlemen.
and so you know, we were looking at Ricky, and Ricky was looking at us, and there was a little bit of tension,
Really.
and you know, it was kind of one of those.
I can almost picture
Yeah,
this.
you know, and Ricky was like, "Where's your crew?" And I was like, "Where's your crew?" And he was like, you know, so and so. And I was like, yeah, same thing. So he's like, why don't you come sit with us? And so he extended, you know, he was a bigger man, extended the olive branch. We sat with them and we talked. I mean, I think it was one of those nights where Denny's turned into a 5-hour session of just
Yeah.
talking, getting
Mhm.
everything off our chest, and
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
talking about life and everything. And he was like, man, I like what you guys are doing. I like your goals and where you guys are going.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, let's link up and do something together.
Wow.
And we had a few gigs we had to honor, but
Mm-hmm.
we were like, it's fun again. It's back in high school, and we linked up, and we've been with each other ever since.
That's a great
Yeah,
story,
yeah,
man.
yeah.
I gotta give you props on that.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah.
So
And I let all the I've always been a person that always lets the drama, like, just, I ain't tripping. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
Ricky-
yeah, you let it
I
go.
always
yeah,
give
Ricky-
hella
Ricky was
people
always-
shots at
yeah.
it. Like, you know what? If they don't want to be cool with me,
Yeah.
it is
And
what it
that's
is,
why I say
you know
that,
what I
you
mean?
know, for me, from being friends with Ricky and not liking Ricky and being friends with Ricky and liking him again,
Mm-hmm.
I'll be the first one to tell you, he was always about his business. And that's why I was saying when I was young, I was immature, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And Ricky was always about his business. And that's one thing I've always admired about Ricky, because he's always about business. And not just business, but like friendship and family, you know what I mean? Like, let's you know, like even when he extended the olive branch, come
Yeah.
sit with me.
Yeah.
You know, let's talk, you know, and filling me out, and then telling me how much he's been watching us, you know what I mean? It was
That's
kind of weird,
beautiful.
you know what I mean?
That's good. That's Rick Lee for you,
That's-
ladies and gentlemen.
That's genuine person.
that
you know what I mean?
that
That's-
persona has boiled into, like, how we've inducted so many members and a great, like, friendship with a lot of people who helped build SBC
And
for all
speak
these
Yeah.
years.
and speaking of members, let's
Yeah.
jump to Carolina really quick. As far as being able to meet Rick, how did that come about?
Well, basically, I wanted to DJ for a while, but I didn't really know how to go about doing it.
Mm-hmm.
But I grew up listening to him, so I basically reached out.
On the radio.
Yeah, on the
Did
radio.
you go to the clubs or anything and see
yeah, I
him?
had went to a few of his clubs
Really?
before,
So you're
yeah.
just stalking the shit out of him, right?
So social media, helps a lot.
Mhm.
So reached out to him on there, and basically just gave me a chance to.
So how'd you hit him up on social media? Just say, "Hey, baby, what's up?"
How
How you doing?
I just,
What was that introduction? Please let us know.
Basically just telling him, like, I've been wanting to do this since I was a kid,
Mhm.
and is there any way I can pay for lessons or?
Oh, you said straight up.
Yeah, straight up.
Straight up. So
straight
there's
up.
no
So
like
Ricky
mumbo
probably said,
jumbo.
"Cha-ching."
Yeah.
I was like,
The
sure.
word pay.
Yeah. So But basically, he was just like, come out. I'd like to meet you, see what you're about, and
So did you go to a gig?
Yeah, I
That's
did.
how you guys met.
We met up in Walnut Creek, actually.
Really?
Yeah.
My neck of the woods.
Yeah, your neck of the
Redux.
woods. Redux.
I believe.
Yeah, oh.
Redux.
Downtown Walnut
Okay.
Creek. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that's where you had the main introduction.
Yep,
And
that's
how
where
Gotcha.
I met him.
Have you been kind of rocking?
And then after that, it's been like about 3 years now. So,
Awesome.
Yeah.
And you've been doing all sorts of SBC related, Wrigley related
Oh yeah.
activities. Talk
Uh,
about those. You did a lot of photography as well, right?
Right. Started off doing photography, and I actually do that as my actual job. So kind of just flowed into that. And then
Wow,
the-
Rick, you lucked out because
Yeah,
all
I
DJs
did.
need a photographer. What the
Right.
fuck? I don't even got one. Hell,
Yeah.
well, not to knock you, Rock Rage,
No,
but you can't always be everywhere.
I
so
think
Right.
what she's saying is she brought a lot to the table, and one thing that me and Ricky have always agreed on, that we never documented our stuff for a lot of years, because
I wish you guys could have
I
because
wish- I wish
you could
we-
have a documentary
we were-
film
yeah,
right
I
now.
wish we were-
Big
For
time.
sure.
there's other old school
Movies.
crews that did that, and give them props for it, but
Yeah.
we were so wild, and so because we all
We're
had,
like really wild. I mean, look at the
we-
stories he just
yeah.
told you.
I
like
know,
me
and
you.
that's just
We-
like maybe
No,
1%.
that's
He's
just the
sitting here.
fight. That's just the fight story. I mean, we got crazy stories. I mean,
crazy
Oh, I'm
we,
sure.
we called Ricky's house the Porno Palace.
Right.
Ricky's house.
We
was
went there,
called-
ladies and gentlemen.
Ricky's
we
house
really
was
did.
called the Porno Palace,
For a
and-
reason.
and there
And-
was
and
there was
what-
even flyers that said the after party at the Porno Palace.
So while these guys were like just almost about to graduate high school, because like
Oh, this was during that
No,
time?
no, no.
well, TJ
Like
was telling
underage?
you, well, you know how TJ was telling you we have an age gap, right?
Yes.
So when I was probably like, I want to say 19, 20,
Mm-hmm.
I was already arguing with my parents. They didn't want me to DJ at
Yeah.
all. My dad was a contractor,
Yeah.
so he
He wanted you to be a
wanted
doctor,
Yeah.
a lawyer.
Yeah.
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 dentist or do
Yeah,
something.
something,
yeah.
But you know what? You barely graduated. You cut school. You're screwing up your whole life trying to be an imaginary DJ. They call it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I felt where they were coming from. I really didn't. I was like, man.
Did you have
Oh,
any
he had a
resentment
vision,
towards
yeah.
them? Like, F you, I'm
No,
going
I
to do
mean,
whatever I want?
I knew that they were looking out for me, and they were really like, trying to lead me in the right direction.
Yeah.
But something up above was telling me,
You have a higher calling.
yeah, that I had a
So-
higher calling.
You
I want
tread
to.
lightly, brother. Tread lightly, because I don't know
Right.
about that higher calling. You'll get the Porno
But, like,
Palace.
I mean, like everything that I wanted
Yeah.
to do led me back to
so
like,
he
be
moved,
a DJ.
Yeah, he
You know
moved
what I'm
out.
saying?
He moved out and got a place and
Yeah,
just,
yeah.
just
How old were you
because
when you moved
I
out?
was frictioning with my parents.
How
Like,
old were you when you moved
arguing.
out?
Probably 19ish.
no about 2021. Yeah.
20. Well, yeah.
Yeah.
And
Wow.
Like being 19.
You know what's eerie
So-
about that is because I had the same thing with my parents, and I moved out around 21
Yeah.
because of those frictions and not being able to support what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
So I'm with you, brother.
Yeah.
I mean, back then, DJing to them, it was something new and unheard of, and it was like, you want to be a DJ? Why?
so Ricky gets
Exactly.
You know
Ricky
what I mean?
Ricky
Yeah.
gets this this place,
Mhm.
and he rents an in-law studio, and he gets access to the whole garage.
Gotcha.
You
And
know,
this is
she-
still in Daly City,
This is
right?
Daly City, yeah.
Okay.
So he gets the in-law and access to the whole garage. Well, the owner of the house rents out the other 2 rooms to people in SBC, and she's never home. So the whole
Bingo!
the whole house is basically
Cha-ching.
ours.
Yeah, yeah.
So we had a lot of fun.
Oh man, I mean,
We had a
I know we
lot
could
of
go
fun.
into
I
the
mean, I had so
So
many
I know.
females up in
Yeah.
there having
So
a part. But you know what? I give credit to all of that happening because because we didn't have social media, we
Yeah.
don't have the internet.
Yeah.
yeah.
We're just fun
that
people.
built my reputation as a DJ and being cool folks to hang around with.
Yeah.
You know, TJ made hella friends coming over my house, you know, and he brought friends over, and I met all his friends that I didn't know,
Yeah.
and it just became a bigger and bigger party. So back then, is what I'm saying, is like, because we didn't have social media, that was the way to integrate yourself, to socialize with
Yeah.
people
Mm-hmm.
and get your name out there.
We would meet up at Ricky's house to load up for a gig at 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, and it'd be like 5 of us.
Yeah, the
And
crew.
Yeah, it would just be the crew. The core people, the crew, maybe 5, 6, 7. We'd leave, come back with 30 people.
And it was
You know,
all good.
it was all
Literally
good.
30
Yeah.
people.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
that's
So
your corner to sleep right there. It's all
went-
good.
We went to a gig, went to Denny's, and came back and partied.
No,
And
meaning like we met so many friends on the road when we
Right.
went.
Yeah.
That we came back with so much help, willing to help us out.
And just
You
to kick
you
it.
carry a crate. You carry a crate.
Yeah.
You carry a crate.
Sometimes though, that was how people got into clubs too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, we'd have like 30 people in each one.
All
carrying-
underage. All fucking underage.
I don't know about that. But there was a time, you know. But we were young. We were excited, and all the perks that came with popularity. Yeah, we took full advantage of it.
Porno perks, ladies and gentlemen.
Keep in mind, the promoter sees like, damn, this guy rolls hard.
Yeah. Yeah.
To every gig we hire him at, he, you know, and like again, we don't have the internet to get the word out to come to our party.
So going back to all this,
You know?
is that's why none of us held a camera, because we all wanted to participate. We all wanted to have fun, and we were too dumb or drunk to hold a camera.
Plus,
That's
then
why-
you'd
that's
have
why-
to take pictures and
that's
then
why-
develop it at Walgreens and
Yeah,
wait another
that's-
week.
I did the same thing.
That's
We
why-
just-
Yeah, those
yeah.
disposable cameras.
We're moving too fast, you know.
It wasn't until like, you know, the end of MySpace going into Facebook is when we started figuring out.
It wasn't Mixture or Friendster or anything like that. Let's back up, brothers.
Yeah, no,
you know,
but no,
we
but
could
I'm
go
saying-
there.
what-
Caroline's like, Friendster? What the fuck's that?
Well, what I'm saying is, it wasn't until you know those social media outlets as we figured out we need to document stuff more.
Yeah.
And even then we had to like, you know, beg people in our own crew to like, hey, can you take pictures of me DJing and my crowd? And it was hard, and that's why when somebody like Carolina comes in and she brings this to the table, it's very important.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, and more important now because of social media. Everything
Right.
could be out in an instant and so forth. I'll tell you this right now, guys. You guys have to brainstorm this and put together some plots, because you should have SBC movie documentary, because I know there's a lot more of this.
Put it this way: every day that I've been DJing, ever since I figured out the, you know, like social media is a factor,
Yeah.
and most importantly, pictures. I've documented probably since the end of the hyphy movement or during the hyphy movement of
We've been heavily
06,
documented. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Almost every day I pay someone to come out,
Mm-hmm.
whether it be 10 people at the club, document everything I've done or whatever's TJ's done or whoever. And I want to, you know, at the end of this DJ road, I want to be able to like have memories and
'Cause
photographs
we
of it.
learned the hard way that we didn't document it because we just have these crazy stories to tell.
Yeah, because you're too busy trying to create those crazy
Yeah,
stories.
Yeah, no, yeah.
Yeah, it's not like
it comes down to it.
yeah, and you're drunk or whatever. It's like, hey.
So yeah, halfway through our careers of DJing, when we got a lot older, we figured out like, hey, you know what? From this point on, let's try our hardest to document every day you go out.
There you go.
know?
There you
So,
go.
We've been able to do that. So you know, in the near future, you'll be able to like see everything has happened. And if you ask for pictures, I'll have like 500, 600 photos, not just one.
And that's a true fact, ladies and gentlemen, because when he puts out all these photos, is like
You
every
see
nook
it on
and cranny.
Facebook, don't
yeah,
you?
Yeah.
and
It
it,
probably fills up your timeline like,
That's how-
damn, I
see,
can't
that's
get
how
rid of
you-
this guy. Would you go away?
That's
Lot
how
of
you know.
pictures.
That's how you know real DJs from fake DJs, because the fake DJ will put up a picture of himself and behind a turntable, and it's just that's it.
Mhm.
And it's like, where's the proof? Where's
Yeah, yeah.
Because I know there's cats walking around saying they DJ this and they DJ that, and it's like, we know you didn't. We know you.
There you
didn't.
go, man. Shame
Where's
him.
the proof?
Shame him, TJ.
I don't want to say their name.
So let's kind of fast forward after the whole like joint venture.
Yeah, where did
but-
we leave off? I think we
Oh, there's
left off
we're
somewhere.
gonna
Me beating
We
you
might have to
up.
come back here like 20 times. To finish
dude,
off
there
these
because we
stories.
got we only have so much
an
time.
eighth. I think we're
Yeah.
only an eighth
Right.
in.
I know.
Yeah.
So
let's get forward.
Let's skip forward really into the professional part on your end, Rick, with 106 KMEL.
Right, right.
Now, I know I have some history in terms of how you got into there, so I don't want to get into
Right,
that.
right.
That could be something we could revisit on a later show. But as far as your influence, being able to go on the radio and do your mixes, but at the same time, you're never forgetting your roots with the SBC DJs. That's one thing I always admired. Every time they did the drops, it would always say the Dragon, Rick Lee, 106 KMEL, SBC DJs. That would always be an
So
attachment.
yeah, whoever's out there like listening to the radio and is wondering what SBC Djs is, that's our crew that we've been running with since we started this whole DJing thing.
Exactly.
beyond
That's the
compare.
mobile
Exactly.
DJ group, ladies and gentlemen.
So
And
that's the little subliminal.
Style beyond
out there.
compare in your face.
and the thing about the whole mobile DJing, gentlemen and lady, is that the whole title that sometimes doesn't flow into a certain professional outlook when it comes to club DJs, mix show DJs, because it's like almost like a starting point,
Yeah.
and you should kind of close that door and just title yourself as who you are now as a professional.
Yeah.
With you, Rick, you carried on that title of knowing that this is where I came from. This is who I represent.
We talked earlier. I try not to forget where I came from.
Exactly.
And exactly what you're talking about.
And
Like, so I've carried that.
Yeah.
along.
And Rick Lee shows that it's still crew mentality. You know what I mean? Like
Precisely.
If he blows up, we all blow up.
Precisely.
If he eats, we all eat.
Yeah.
If he cries, we all cry. You know what I mean? So it's a family. You know, and our roots from mobile DJing got him to where he is today, and he's never forgot that. Like we've talked about a lot, you know, with other crew members. He doesn't have to say SBC. He doesn't have to say. It could always been Rick Lee and the SBC Djs.
I can easily just focus on myself.
It could have just been like,
keep it all to
I'm
myself,
not even going to
but-
do SBC. I'm just going to carry on Rick Lee, because there's a lot of DJs that did that. They never
that do that now.
Yeah,
that
they,
now.
they don't
There's
mention
no
the
one
crew.
really.
They mention
one.
the crew on social media. They mention the crew on flyers, but on the radio, it's crickets. You know what I mean?
Or not
Yeah.
even on those two platforms either. It's
Either,
like
yeah.
it's them now. It's like
and the funny part about this full circle, I see a lot of DJs nowadays are going back to the mobile scene.
that's true,
You know
ladies
what
and
I mean?
gentlemen.
So
Yeah,
it's-
because there's a little bit more of this involved, and
Oh yeah.
because of the state of DJing now with technology advancing and everyone that could push their finger this way.
Everybody's a DJ.
Yeah.
Even my gardener.
yeah.
Exactly. Let's jump to Carolina real quick because I don't want to leave you out because I want you to get a little meat of the
Right.
conversation. As far as being able to be around these gentlemen and the crew, what's the most important element that you've taken from them besides their porn palace stuff?
Probably just loyalty and always just trying to stay humble.
She hit that right on the dot. I give you
Yes.
props for that.
Yeah,
Honestly,
just always
Yes.
be humble and loyal, and just not letting everything around you, you know, just get to your head, because there's a lot of shit going around, you know, but you just can't let it get to your head and get big-headed over it, you know, so.
And
Really
I
quick.
I totally agree with her because that's probably the toughest thing you'll ever find
That's
around you
that's the toughest
in
thing.
life. Period is loyalty.
Well, I
You know
think
what I
Yeah.
it becomes real.
Loyalty and being humble.
I
and
think
humble.
what makes it difficult is when you've achieved a lot. Like, for example, like LeBron James, the basketball player. He's ever since he's been conceived, he's always been treated like royalty.
Right.
And part of his demeanor sometimes comes off a little bit diva-ish, egotistical,
Yeah.
because that's how he's been ingrained.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes you have to kind of really fall on your face hard to kind of be humbled
Exactly.
to move forward in a very gratifying and
You're absolutely
and
right.
right way.
Yeah.
So much props out to you, Rick, for
Yeah.
establishing that culture within the SBC DJs. I know you want to stick within that, but I want to kind of like branch out to some other endeavors
Okay.
so we could touch in, because
Okay.
you do a lot more than just the DJ stuff. And that's the thing that makes this whole Bay Area hip hop community embrace you,
Right,
is
right.
because you do have a magazine.
Exactly. Shout out to Network. Go there.
And that really catapults a lot of what you're trying to do as a DJ and
Exactly.
for your persona.
Yeah.
My board guy, Alex Rock Rage, he's like, "Oh, Rick Lee's coming on!" Boom! It's like so and so knows him. I'm like, "Whoa!" It's like you're
Right,
synonymous
right.
with everything that has to do with Bay Area hip hop culture, and you've been doing it because you have been very dedicated and
Exactly.
supporting artists throughout the years. So my main question is, has there been an artist that you saw like right off the bat that was special, and you could say, "I helped that gentleman or lady blow up because I supported wholeheartedly"? I know there may be dozens, but
Can you help me out with
Yeah,
that?
I know. It was Hood Stars.
There you
The
go.
Hood
Shout out to
Stars.
the Hood Stars.
Hood
from East
Stars.
Yes.
Palo Alto.
Hood Stars was one of the cats
You're
that
exactly
couldn't
right.
that was trying their hardest by pushing their music on everybody on radio.
Mhm.
And Rick was the first one to play it. And and Rick was actually a catalyst to all the hyphy movement people, because people weren't touching it. I remember there was times when me and Ricky were playing Mac Dre at
Yeah.
clubs and gigs, and people were clearing the dance floor, and was like, play some Bay music, and Ricky's like, this is Mac Dre's from Vallejo, he's from the Crest, and people like, play some Bay music, and Ricky's like, they're from the Bay, and it wasn't. Unfortunately, it wasn't.
I
until
helped
Mac,
commercialize.
yeah, unfortunately,
the song
it
to
wasn't
be.
for Mac Dre passing away, but
Yeah.
Ricky was playing Thizzle Dance way before,
Yeah.
and it wasn't. Unfortunately,
it's funny how that plays out, isn't it, gentlemen?
Yeah.
How
It is
how like you
crazy.
could be so much on the cutting edge in a different universe, and yet people still need to
Yeah.
catch up to that reality.
But Mac Dre was already well established. He was already had a cult following before. But Hood Stars was probably the one that stands out the most of Rick actually
Now
taking
we're
a chance.
Now they
on
have
him.
that song called "Grown Man" on.
Yeah,
which
yeah,
was
yeah.
big
That was big, yeah.
back
Yeah.
then.
So he
I played that.
yeah. So Ricky was probably the first one to play it and push it.
Now, was it because you saw in their eyes that they were really sincere artists, or were they persistent, or were the elements
They
involved?
were- all of it. I seen them really go out there and just be at the clubs,
Hustling,
And,
yeah.
and again, they kind of knew people that I knew too, so I was
Mhm.
keeping my eye on them.
Mm-hmm.
And they really had a talent. Like people were really
Yeah.
like digging them.
I mean, there's back then, not so much now, but back then there was a lot of times where we would sit down collectively as a crew, and Ricky would be like, "Hey, dude, you got to hear this song." You
Oh,
gotta-
really? Have like
Like-
mixer meetings
Yeah,
within
actually,
SBC
we- yeah,
DJs?
SBC,
We,
yeah.
Yeah.
we would have mixer meetings at
Yeah.
my house.
Yeah.
Within
At
the crew.
Porn
Within the crew,
Palace.
yeah, at the Porn Palace.
See,
so we
you would have, I don't mean to cut you off, TJ, but mixer meetings are when the DJs within the radio station kind of get together and kind of touch on what's a hit, what's going to be a hit.
Huddle up.
Yeah,
Yeah, huddle
and
up,
kind of
yeah.
like put a game plan together. Rick is now mentioning that the group within the mobile company has mixer
We
meetings.
had about
Wow.
almost close to like 20 guys,
yeah.
young cats in
Yeah.
our group.
Yeah.
That's even more than some stations have
So,
mixers.
Yeah. So we
Yeah.
would sit there, and Ricky was like, I remember Ricky was pushing them, and it was like, "Yo, you got to hear this song." And we
Right,
listened
right.
to it, and we're like, "That's it. That's gonna be a hit."
Gotcha.
And it blew up.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it was.
So I come back with what I learned on the streets and some of the information from radio. And
Right,
go back
right.
like this is going to be the next thing popping.
yeah.
Look out for it.
Now,
You know what I mean?
yeah, yeah. Now, see, that's the thing I've always admired you throughout the years, Rick, is that you have a good ear,
Yeah.
especially when it comes to Bay Area hip hop and hip hop in general.
Right.
How do you go about it? Is there like a certain numbers thing that you look at, or just say, okay, I know this person has a name recognition,
Right.
so and the song is dope, because there's so much music that comes to us every single week.
Well,
Do
right.
you
Well,
actually listen to every single track?
Actually, you know what? Honestly, all the stuff that I get, I just don't have the time in my life to hear it all.
Right,
You
right.
know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I really like look to social media and the internet and kind of do my homework.
Gotcha,
there.
gotcha. So that kind of like cuts down on the time for
That,
you
cut,
to get
that
stuff.
cuts a lot of big time.
Okay.
You know what
Yeah.
I mean? And the artists that really ain't got it together, they'll come and find you at the club
Mm-hmm.
and kind of get your time from there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And how do you deal with
sometimes
that?
those guys will cut in. Those are the people that'll like kind of like cut in line from actually me doing the homework on the internet. On
Right, right,
everything
right.
That's popping. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that'll get me in tune with them. And sometimes I'll like, damn, I can't believe I missed that. You know what I mean?
I know what you mean. I remember
Though
when
we can't play some of those artists on the radio.
Yeah.
There's so many avenues now to break music besides radio.
yeah,
you
so
know?
many, so many. And it's funny that you're bringing that up as far as being able to be at a club and having an artist approach you and stuff.
Right,
I mean,
right.
I get that shit a lot.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's just bad timing.
It is.
And I
It is.
remember I was over at my Walnut Creek residence. This was back in 2006, roughly.
Yeah.
And there was this Filipino guy that came up and he wanted to have his CD played and so forth. And he was just like, just coming across in a weird way.
Right.
And at that moment, you know how it is. It has to be in your mood. If you're in a
Yeah,
very
yeah.
open,
Yeah.
great
not,
mood,
not
you're
only
going
that,
to.
you're getting paid to rock the crowd.
Yeah.
Not to take time out to listen to an
Test
artist.
Yeah, you
music,
can't take
yeah.
that
Right.
moment because
You know what I mean?
you have to work. And so I remember getting the CD and stuff like that, and he kept on. He goes, play number 4, play number 4, whatever. I'm like,
Yeah.
I go, first off, I have turntables, and this is not at the point where I went to Serato yet.
Right.
I was still playing regular
Right,
records
right,
with
right,
all
right,
the
right.
compilations and so forth, so I couldn't do it. And as it turned out, a few years later, I looked at that CD, and it was from Nump Trump. I was like, so
Why
this
was
is
I just gonna call his name out when
Shout
he
out
said,
to
"Hey, this is
Hey,
Filipino"?
Nump was
Shout out to Nump. He
Yeah,
still hits
Nump-
me to
Nump's
this
still
day. I
grinding.
love
exactly,
it.
exactly.
love
But
it.
see,
grinding.
but see,
God
that's a
bless him.
real story, and I
Yeah.
wanted that to be real. And I play his track every freaking opportunity because it still works.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's one situation where, yeah, because of all the chaos that's going on, doing the gig
Yeah,
during the gig, you have to kind of like set that aside. But it was no disrespect to
Yeah,
him; it was
yeah.
just at the moment. But yeah, it ends up.
There's a way to approach people. I mean, I've had the opposite of the bad way. where I've gotten punked. You know what I mean? Like I've had people like threaten
Bully
me.
you. Right?
Yeah, like bully me, like tapping me on the shoulder to the point where I have to turn around and be like, what?
Yeah.
And then have to explain to them like, dude, I'm
Play my
doing,
shit, track
I'm
night.
doing a job.
Track
Like
night.
what?
Yeah. Yeah.
There was one time I was at Blush in Burlingame.
Let's go.
And this dude,
Let it out.
Oh yeah,
This
that's right.
I had to call Ricky and tell him.
See how many stories we come
Yeah,
up
so
with?
this dude was tapping me,
Digging
and
about
I,
the grave.
All right.
I
This
was-
is at
I
a
was
club,
like,
right? You're doing your
yeah,
set.
I'm
Yeah.
doing my set, so I'm in the middle, and crowds
Yeah.
rocking.
It's on. It's
you
on.
know, I'm DJing for Blue Fizz. And it's cracking. I mean, the party's jumping, and this guy wanted me to play a song.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I can't.
Off
bro.
the CD or
Off the CD.
okay.
Because I was on CDJs at the time. So
Gotcha.
This
So
is
he
CDJs.
brought his CD.
He brought a CD, and
Gotcha.
he's like, you know, probably play track two.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And I was like, there's no way I'm gonna play track two. And this is during like the Dirty South movement. You know, you had Yin Yang Twins, and I'm doing this, and everybody's
Yeah.
going crazy. And I'm like, I'm not playing your CD.
Yeah.
I've never heard it. Don't know who you are.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you what. I'll listen to it. I'll put it in my backpack, and I promise I'll listen to it, and I'll get back to you. And then, you know, 5 minutes later, it's like, hey, play it now. I talked to the promoter. I know you didn't talk to the promoter, but it's all good. So it got to the point where, like, now he's, like, grabbing me, and I had to turn around, throw my headphones down. I was like, what?
Yeah.
And then I guess I wasn't paying attention to how big this man was. So I turned around. I was like, holy shit, this guy looked like Suge Knight. This guy's a gigantic
Because
guy.
I think he was sitting down.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And then he got up and he was like,
so he's like,
from the
so
grave.
he's like wanted to beat me up now. So like,
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
like, well, shit, I'm gonna have to throw blows at this guy. So then, you know, people had kind of was like separating. I'm DJing at this time, you know, like I'm like, hold on, let me throw the song in, and turn around, like, dude, what's up? You know,
So
we're
everyone's
arguing.
sensing there's going to be a confrontation.
So people were, and I'm like, I'm not playing your shit, yada yada. And I was like, I'll tell you what, I'll give you my business card, and you know, holler at me. And I gave my business card, and he was like, oh, you know Rick Lee? And I was like, yeah, we're in the same DJ group. Oh man, hey, can you tell him to find my CD? I put it, you know, I got an MP3 in the email. He was like, you know, holler at me, and I was like, all right. And I was like, what the hell just happened?
Oh, brother.
So I called Ricky. I was like, hey, man, I almost got jumped by this big-ass dude that wanted me to play his song. And then I told Ricky his name, and Ricky's like, oh, yeah.
All right. Is there any irony to
Yeah.
this? Like, who is the artist?
No,
or
because Ricky was like,
No.
this shit sucks.
oh, brother. Oh man.
So yeah, so I mean,
Yeah.
as a DJ, we have to find.
It's how you
know,
come at
It's
us.
how you come at us. One is
You know what I mean?
presentation. You can't come at me with a
Exactly.
CD with some
There you go.
scribbles on it. You can't come with the thumb drive. You got to come at presentations. One, two. You have to understand that we're doing a job, and we will get back to you as soon as we can. You know what I mean? And that's, I mean, you know it. You know it. You've been there.
And if you can't wait, you just got to be really creative on, hey, how do I get to know this person?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
again, how do I present myself the next time I see this person?
Right,
Instead of
right.
being aggressive or, you know,
Yeah, because who knows what their intent is at the end of the day.
Like if you're trying to sell it, like let's just say you're trying to sell an app, you know, and you're not going to go up to a CEO of Apple and punk them. You know what I mean?
sure, why not?
Hey,
You
it
know,
sounds like a
like,
good
you
idea,
know,
though.
like,
I
hey,
kind of like that.
Download my app.
Yeah.
Like, whoa.
Because
You
he'd
know
be
what I
like, no one's ever done that.
Yeah.
Sold.
right? Yeah, you know, and like Ricky was saying on discovering these cats, you know, it's you have to come with presentation. You have to be humble and you have to be respectful and understand that we have things against us too. Like we have to rock this party, or Rick is bound to play certain music on the station at certain times.
Yeah.
There's an outlet for everything, and Rick will find an outlet for you, but you have to be patient and you have to have good presentation.
You know what? That's
Thanks,
it.
TJ.
That's it, guys. I'm just fucking gonna use
out for
Rick Lee's name in every confrontational moment.
That's-
Every
like-
fucking. I know Rick Lee.
Like,
Like,
I'm about to stab you. I know Rick Lee.
Everybody
All right, cool. It's cool. It's my homie. It's my homie. One love. You
oh
get the
man,
pass.
Rick. I hope your name is fucking trademark or
Man.
copyright because this is
You
just
know what?
freaking
I did.
beautiful.
You know what? I was very smart, and if a lot of people don't know, I did trademark.
You did. You did.
I did
You
trademark.
did.
Doesn't surprise me.
Yeah.
It does not surprise me.
Eric Lee's a businessman.
There you go.
So
There-
everybody that's putting his name on the flyer, guess what? Ricky's coming for you.
busted.
Oh,
Now, as far as like, let's stick with the whole topic of DJing and you're in the club
Yeah.
and stuff like that. Requests. How
Requests.
that becomes a little
my
political
God.
thing
You know-
because
you know,
we've been all
I
down
don't know
that
about-
road.
I don't know about Ricky, but you know what? I know a lot of people say I don't take requests. I do.
Yeah.
I take requests
Mm-hmm.
because unless it's obscure, you know what I mean? Like
I take requests too.
Yeah,
I do.
I'm not gonna go like if I'm doing a hip hop club and somebody says, "Can you play New Order?" It's like, no, I'm not gonna play.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, high energy at a hip hop club.
Right, right.
But for the most part, you know, I'll take requests, you know, and listen to what they have to say.
This is my approach when it comes to the whole request thing. if you come off intelligent with your request, knowing that, okay, we're at a certain BPM, a certain genre,
Yeah.
and you're requesting it within that BPM, I
Right.
give you fucking hella respect.
Yeah.
You're coming at me with Fetty Wap, and it's the right BPM. I'm like,
Yeah.
I'll work it in
Yeah.
because I
Yeah.
haven't
'Cause-
played it, and I'm gonna fucking play it,
Yeah.
and you just help me
And
out.
there's timing. I know a lot of
Right.
people complain about early in the evening, and you want me to play a heater that's going to be after midnight.
Right,
It's
right.
not going to happen because you have to bounce. Nah, it's not going to happen.
Exactly.
Here's the thing with that, and all DJs understand this. Nowadays, with everyone's like low and short attention span, sometimes those heaters at the early part keep those people there.
Yeah, no,
because if you don't play it,
I
for
agree to that too.
psychologically, they're
Yeah.
like, this guy's not going to play my hit.
Yeah.
Or the type of music I'm going to stay in the
Right,
entire
yeah.
club
Right,
for.
right.
But there's that time though. There's that weird time before
Timing.
it gets to midnight.
Yeah.
And then you have to build up.
Exactly.
And then we
exactly.
slam them. But you, that's the time where I think sometimes like I'm leaving the club. I gotta go. Can you play this song? And it's like, like I want to, but I can't right now.
Gradually.
Yeah,
You know what
yeah,
I mean? Like,
yeah. And
That's when you
and-
give them like the twerk version or a different
that
version.
too, you know,
exactly.
yeah,
You play
yeah.
the
Screw 'em
alternative
up.
versions. I think it's
Because I
it's-
know a lot of DJs nowadays are like no requests allowed, and I think that's kind of that's on
Yeah.
them. But
Yeah,
I
yeah,
don't, I'm
that's-
not,
yeah.
But and my problem with other DJs is when I look and I see the DJ and he's not even looking at the crowd.
right,
That's
right.
why he doesn't want to take requests.
Exactly.
Not all of them.
Mhm.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
there's some that don't take requests. It's like, why aren't you looking at the crowd?
I always look at the crowd because I want to see how their body responses and see how they're
Yeah.
kind of like
Right.
getting into the mood. And sometimes you have to kind of think out the box too.
See, I think
Yeah, for sure.
what you're saying right now is a perfect example because of the era we grew up in on the mobile DJ scene. Because
Yeah.
the mobile DJ scene, you don't know what you're going to expect and what kind of crowd you get.
Mm-hmm.
With the club, it's kind of easy. You kind of know what kind of music you're catering to with the people. But when
Right.
you have a mobile party, I think that's the advantage of like myself, Rick Lee, and yourself is we can see, we can play with different types of music and have fun with it and see people dance.
That's actually really sculpted my style and the way I spin on the radio and the way I can like take something that someone else wouldn't and
Yeah.
make it sound cool.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
Because all because of the
Yeah,
mobile DJing weddings.
Bobby
is
Speed
probably
used to
most
tell me-
Yeah.
important part.
Bobby Speed used to tell me, he'd be like, that one person in the corner, I'm going to make that person dance. You know what I mean? And like he would focus on the crowd, but then he'd kind of eye that one person.
Yeah.
I'm going to make him dance.
It's like a goal.
It's like a goal, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's a good goal to have because you're as a DJ, our job is to make it's to
Make-
party rock.
yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
right. And with the technology today where everything is at your disposal, and if you don't have the song, you could just download it really quick
Right.
just
Yeah.
to get by.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
And I don't think there's any excuse for any DJ to half-ass anything when it comes to making the crowd work. If you can't make the crowd work, find another profession because there's no excuse. Back in the day, let's back up with the mobile DJing scene. You're carrying 3, 5, 7 crates. That's your ammunition,
Exactly.
and that's all you're bringing. So if the crowd wants something else outside of that, their ass
I
is
remember
out.
people back in the day asking stuff outside of what I brought to the party, and you're like, damn.
Exactly.
I would have brought it, but I
Yeah,
just don't
like-
have enough arms and
yeah.
legs to drag it here.
No
Or
space
room
in
in
the,
the
no
DJ
space in the
booth.
Civic.
You know
Hey,
what I mean?
there-
But
there-
now
There
you-
used to be times
unlimited.
Yeah, yeah.
There was times
Unlimited.
we would bring 4 crates for a 1-hour set,
Why not?
right? The
Yeah.
2 big
Yeah.
crates with 2
Because usually
wheels
the,
on-
the
wheels
guy
on one,
before you
because
is
you-
trying to nail out all the records.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you would spend a lot of time during the week going to like Bobby G's record pool. And,
Yes.
and
These are
Star
real
Records.
record stores, ladies
These
and
are
gentlemen.
Real
Real
record
record
stores.
stores, yeah.
Not
Back there
MP3
digging for
pulls.
records.
Dig,
I
yeah.
bet you this guy ain't got this, but I have to bring the records that he's playing too,
Yeah.
just in case.
Just
so
in
that's why
case.
we bought so many back.
Don't you
Yeah.
fucking miss those days of being able to freaking get that new vinyl? Gosh.
Yeah, because it was exclusive.
It
Now,
was
you,
ex-
you-
it
now you
was.
get on the same, the same,
record
know,
pool,
record
whatever,
pool,
and
and everybody gets that same
everyone
MP3,
can
you
get
know what I
this.
mean?
Yeah,
Sucks.
exactly.
you
Yeah,
know?
it's just
Covering the labels to make sure nobody sees it.
Exactly.
What song is that? None of your business. You can't see it. None of your business.
You know what's funny? I remember that DJ AM had something worked out with Serato where you would put in a code on Scratch
Oh, I
Live
remember that,
and
yeah.
it
It
wouldn't
would-
show
yeah, I remember that.
the name of the artist or anything.
Right.
It was sort of that same
Yeah.
thing, but on the digital
Yeah,
end.
yeah.
And that's because shoulder surfers. You know what I mean? They want to know that.
Oh, believe me, I
remix.
love it when they do that to me. It's like, yeah, I made this motherfucker. Come over here.
Yeah,
Look,
well,
you're
yeah.
not going to be able to
See,
find it.
that's
Yeah, back in the day, we would spend a whole week trying to figure out where did that guy get that record.
Yeah.
Because I don't know.
And I would do that with Cameron Paul back in the day.
Yeah.
Like, damn, is
That
that released?
Something similar happened to Shortcut recently. I think a couple years ago, where somebody was shoulder surfing him. And it was
Yeah,
a
yeah.
popular DJ.
Yeah.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, it was shoulder
Wow.
surfing. It was like, come
I
on.
wonder if he
man,
ever
you know.
found that record that he wanted, though.
Nah,
Have
I
you
don't
figured
know,
it
but
out?
I think it was more of
Did
the
he-
set.
Check this out.
He could probably Shazam it now.
Exactly.
Now you
I
even got
did.
shoulder
I don't think it
surf.
was the- I don't think it was
That's
the-
crazy.
I don't think it was the music. I think it was the set list
Oh, wow.
that they were looking at.
Oh,
you know what I
damn.
mean?
Wow.
That's even worse.
Yeah. So
Not
that-
just
Crazy.
individual songs. Like, let me just copy this motherfucker
And that's
from
it,
beginning to end.
Short was
About to do
pretty,
this next week.
you know, he was pretty pissed about it.
It's it's funny that you brought up Shortcut because he was actually on the program twice, and he
That's the homie,
yeah
John. That's the
yeah.
homie.
What up, Short?
yes and I had the setup for him, and he did a
Oh,
mix
damn.
set. You could watch it on YouTube. Just type in Shortcut the Slam Show, lead you to that video. But yeah, he showed me something. This was way back when he was on back in 2012, I believe, and he came back 13 about stems, which are the breakdowns of each of the tracks, like the acapella, the bass line, the
Right.
drums, and he had all these stems that I was at the time wasn't really
Wow.
familiar.
Yeah, yeah.
And
Yeah.
he had the melody line of Planet Rock.
Yeah.
You know, din, din,
Yeah,
din,
yeah,
he had
yeah.
that. I'm like, holy shit, and that's just the melody line.
Yeah.
And he told me that it's part of their whole crew thing with Jazzy Jeff and so forth.
Oh,
They
no
exchange
way.
stems.
That's
Yeah.
dope.
So that's one thing I still haven't been able to pick
So
up
that's
on.
probably the newest thing that's probably
That's,
emerges.
Yeah, just
Yeah, 'cause
imagine
you
you could
know,
just
the only-
So you know what it is one. If you were lucky to have some of those 12 inches back in the days that used to
Mhm.
break down, you remember like they would have a drum pella for it. They would
Yeah,
have,
yeah.
You know, and that's where they got them from. I mean,
well,
it's-
actually, what it is, it's run through a Pro Tools like setup where
Yeah.
it separates
Separates
the
those, yeah.
each
No
of those
way.
stems.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Wow.
That's
and sometimes the labels send them out now for
Wow.
like certain programs and certain controllers that allow stem playbacks. So yeah, that's the new trend now.
yeah. So if you
and
listen
that-
if you listen to a set, he does a
Yeah.
lot of that. It's,
Yeah.
it's
It's
so
a trip. It's
cool,
like
dude.
it's like that's not the fucking acapella.
Well,
I know that.
The reason why they're doing that too is because now all the DJs are starting to sound the same because
Thank you.
I
That's
can
what
get
separates them,
get that same MP3 Rick got. You
Yep.
know what I mean?
Yep.
So now when you break down the bass line, the acapella, and the drum kit,
Yeah, and the keys and stuff like
now
that.
the-
It makes it
now-
crazy.
Now the key to future DJing is going on to Ableton and making your own remix that nobody else has.
Yep.
Yeah.
You
Yep.
know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's by doing that either with those stems or just being creative on making remixes now that
Yeah.
no one else got. And
Yeah,
that's what's going to separate you from today's DJ.
Oh
you
yeah,
know what I mean?
I drop
Because
a lot of
everyone
those.
can get the same music. You have to know how to edit, remix,
Mhm.
and make those stems.
Yeah.
You know?
And when it comes down to it, the remixes that I put together, the edits, and no one else has,
Right.
if they ask politely, I'll send it to them immediately. I have
Right.
no problem with that because eventually that helps me out. But at the same time, it's like it's there, but yet you want to kind of say, well, maybe I should just keep it because I know I can rock this club and no one's gonna
Yeah.
have it. So that's the approach I take sometimes when it comes to that.
I think Rick nailed it. You know, especially with him, you know, showing like Carolina the roots of DJing and everything else,
Mhm.
because you know, and she's got a good ear and she's a good DJ. But there's a lot of people that want to learn, like we were talking earlier about wanting to learn. And I tell people all the time, I can teach any monkey to DJ or how to mix. I
Mhm.
can teach any monkey how to mix.
Mhm.
But to DJ is a different thing. There's a big difference. So you can beat match. You can go and I'll teach you to beat match in 10 minutes. But to actually DJ is something that's so unique and so different.
Yeah.
Because it's
Perform in
about
front of a crowd.
performing in front of a crowd.
Yeah.
It's timing. It's when to play this song, how to get out of this song, how to get into this song.
Precisely.
If you have edits or not, you know, I mean, a lot of these DJs nowadays, and I'm not taking anything away from them, but they wouldn't have been able to survive in the era we came in
Nope.
because the records didn't have intros.
Mhm.
The records didn't have instrumentals. You had
Mhm.
to be creative.
Exactly.
You know, and nobody wanted to hear like hard cuts. You know what I mean? They just like when you just transition, really slam it over
Mhm.
like hard. You know, you had to be really creative.
And back then, 12 inches were very expensive. They're not
Yeah.
like how you can download now for $1.
Yeah.
People don't even want to pay $1 now for songs. You know, back then we were paying what, anywhere between $5 and up for a 12-inch,
for
Yep,
just
yep.
a single.
just
Yep.
for one song,
Yeah.
and you needed two, so that would throw you in the $10, $14 bracket.
It's time,
You know what I'm saying?
Hashim.
Yeah, you know
Yeah,
what I mean?
right.
So
I found one old one. Yeah.
Don't lose
I
it.
found-
That's a key right
Dude,
there.
I put it on and it said shh time.
Because of all the
Of all
grooves
yeah.
and see, that's the thing about the MP3s, they won't wear down.
No.
That's the
Yeah,
only
yeah.
difference. If man, yep, you
I
got
mean,
it.
I embrace technology. You know, there's goods and bads.
Of course.
I embrace
Yeah.
it. You know, I know Ricky embraces it. You know, things are going to change and you have to evolve. You know, this is a business where you have to evolve.
Yeah, yeah.
If you stay in the past, you're going to get stuck in the past and you're going to be irrelevant.
It's funny that you're bringing that up because I knew a lot of DJs during the beginning of the Serato digital age that were very reluctant to go into.
Do you remember reading those forums
Yeah,
and everything else?
yeah.
It was wild.
And
yeah.
and the thing is that I understand that, and those DJs, they were either connected with like record stores
Yeah.
or dealings that had to do with vinyl. That's why they
Yeah.
stuck it out. And I give them props because they did it till the very end. I was like already like 4 years into it.
Yeah.
And
No,
we finally
had
got.
it-
You're
they had to get
absolutely
into
you're absolutely right. Like even some of the DJs over at the radio station, they were like they didn't want to switch to Serato.
Yeah.
You know
there
what I mean?
There was
and
a
I was
guy-
making the jump ahead, and they were like, "Man, damn, that's bull crap.
Yeah.
You don't want to get into that." And they kept on seeing how much of a library I was able to pull out of using Serato
Mhm.
and still manipulate,
Mhm.
the sound of
There
hip
was,
hop.
there was a guy
you
in
know
our
what I mean?
group that we almost like, you know, we were like yelling at each other.
Kick his ass and shit,
You know,
right?
You know, we were like yelling at each other. You know,
He
it
wanted
was
to
like
keep it
He
real.
wanted to keep it real.
Yeah.
You know, he wanted like, no, screw that and screw CDJs and screw Serato. Like he did not want no part
see,
of it.
see, and that's the thing. What place is he coming from? See, I could find that kind of honorable, but
Yeah.
at the same time, you got to be a little bit more open minded. I want to know
Yeah.
who this
Yeah.
guy is because
No,
did he ever convert?
No, yeah.
Yeah, he,
All
did.
right.
He did.
You know,
he did.
All right.
But,
No,
but
but
I
fine.
think at the time, you know, and I don't want to speak for everybody, and I
Yeah.
don't want to speak for the whole movement, but I think at the time with CDJs being new,
Mm-hmm.
and then Serato just came out, it looked like it was a new fad and new toy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks
You know
like
what
it
I mean?
was.
Like,
yeah.
You know, and
Yeah.
everybody was like, okay, this is getting too weird now. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? This
yeah.
is no, you know, and it was like, you're going to use records. Oh, you're going to try to be, you know, I think it was just timing of it just seemed a little odd for people who were turntablists. I think turntablists were the ones that really were the ones that did not want this to happen.
Exactly.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, DJs, I think, were like embracing it. It's like, okay, I can kind of go back to records, and I don't have to carry like CDJs and CDs anymore. It's lighter now. Yeah, I think I like this.
Yeah, and people will come around when they finally see the benefits in it because we're from the old school. We know the value of vinyl and how that's shaped us and molded us. So we're gonna stick to it as long as we can, and our roots are always going to be connected. But at the same time, we got to be open-minded to the
Right.
technology and the advances of it
Yeah.
because. Believe me, before Serato, there were attempts to having vinyl trigger points where it could control off
Yeah.
a computer, but
exactly.
it wasn't refined.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Rain, Serato, they perfected it, and that's why everything has changed from
Yeah.
that point on.
Yeah.
It was bound to happen eventually.
I mean, I still got records. I mean, I got my garage is full of record covers. It's all record covers in my garage.
Beautiful. There you go.
So I still got wax, you know, and I'm not saying that I didn't like it or hated it. It's just that when you get to a certain age, you can't carry crates up flights of stairs anymore. It gets-
Exactly.
it gets-
Let alone down the
yeah,
street
you know, yeah,
through
you
a
know, it
club
gets-
line.
You know, and
Yeah.
in your car. I mean, I gotta fit the girl somewhere. I can't.
There you go. DJ Carolina, as far as the DJ is concerned, do you want to be more of a blending type of DJ or more of a scratch DJ? What's your take on that?
Probably blending, but I do want to do scratching more.
Okay. All right. And do you want to stick with the turntables or the CDJs or controllers? What's your preference?
I like both. I
Okay.
think both are fun.
She's
Yeah.
saving up right now to get turntables to try to learn. The
Oh, shoot.
roots
Just
of
go
the
to the Wrigley
turntables, yeah.
Fun right there, baby. Just boom. Right there.
But
Go.
she's working hard to save
Yeah.
up and
Just go to
learn-
Guitar
learn
Center
the
and say,
reverse,
I
you
know
what
Rick
mean?
Lee.
There you
Yeah.
go.
Yeah, right. Name drop.
It works for everything. You know, anything you want. Like you get a ticket. I know Rick Lee. Okay, one more ticket. You know,
You know how we have the Chuck Norris rules? Where how everything's with Chuck Norris. We got to do the Rick Lee
Yeah,
one.
yeah,
Oh,
right,
man. This is so cool. I love it. I love it.
The perks of knowing Rick Lee. Right?
Rick Lee,
Yeah.
do me a favor.
Yeah.
Check what time we have because I don't have a clock.
You know
We're
what? We're at 9:07.
9:07.
Yeah.
Wow, we're kind of moving.
Yeah.
So we'll go for a few more minutes before we
Okay.
could close it out. Let's talk about some hobbies real quick, Rick.
Yeah.
Because we're going to have you come back on the program.
Well,
because
we you know what? We barely touched
it's not even
barely a
1%.
service. Yeah,
Not
I
even.
want to agree with you. And we still probably even got to talk about like even how I got into KMEL, and I'm pretty sure a lot of people are interested. How did that evolve? And the
That's a good
props to the
story right
people
there.
that I gotta give.
Save
But
that
see,
for
that-
next
that-
time. That's a good
So,
story
like,
right there.
The scary thing is, not necessarily scary. It's
Yeah.
just that you came onto the show to promote SBC Djs when I
Exactly.
wanted to promote
Right,
Rick
right,
Lee,
right.
but you stood fast and
Yeah.
said, no, it's going to be about that. So whether we get into that on the future
Right.
visit remains to be seen, because we might just go
We'll-
right
we'll-
back to
we'll-
another breakdancing
We'll
story.
keep that lip tied so that we
Yeah,
got something
yeah.
else to talk
Yeah.
about. How about that?
Yeah.
Perfect.
And as far as the crew stuff, man, I love these guys to the end. You know what I mean? I'm the kind of person that would help anybody out. Even if you screwed me over, I'd give you a second chance.
Yeah.
Even a second chance,
Just
a third
remember,
chance.
you-
Push them down the
He'll
fucking
push you down the
stairs.
You know what I mean? So
Shake your hand.
much love to everyone who's came through the crew and really held us down and tried to help evolve what our vision was as DJs. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And to this day, we're still trying to shoot on that straight path and show everybody this is how it should be done,
Yeah.
and in a business fashion if you want to make it.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? So
Say it like Rakim. I love it. I love it. Now, let's go ahead and jump real quick before we close out with the
Okay.
shouts and plugs. Hobbies are yours. I know
Hobbies.
I see a lot of Snapchat stuff with you posting up opening boxes with
Star Wars.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know what? I've always been a Star Wars fan since the gate.
Yeah.
I just didn't have a room to buy the stuff and place it in my house. So,
Right.
I've
now
had
you got the freaking
I've had a
Porn
house
Palace
now,
now,
and I
and you
cleaned
could-
everything
Also,
up, made it
that's
look
good.
cool.
This house ain't the Porn Palace. This is a nice house now.
Yeah.
Oh, so
I've
you're saying the Porn
Nice
Palace
special
wasn't
pad now.
nice.
So I've been buying toys and stuff like that. I've been looking into the Comic-Con thing. I know you're into the Comic-Con
Yes.
stuff, right?
Yes.
So I've just been trying to live life instead of just focus on just DJing so much, and I think I skipped out a big era working so hard that I totally forgot about the me time. So yeah, on the hobbies, I like buying a lot of junk and gadgets off Amazon.
Right.
I got a $4,000 drone now, which I fly off the coast of Pacifica, trying to find whales, and dolphins. So y'all ever want to come through? I got the drones. I got all the toys. I got the real lightsaber joint.
Mm-hmm.
Shout
like
out to my
Mr.
folks at
Gadget.
Ultra Sabers.
See, that's dope.
For sure.
Yeah,
That's
so
dope. And you're skipping it, man.
I just
You-
got
you-
a lot of toys.
You didn't use that term, impulse buyer.
Impulse buyer.
Impulse
I
buyer.
love buying stuff.
So it's primarily Amazon. Any on eBay? Any
You
other
know what?
sites?
I really
You-
liked Amazon.
Or
a
do you
lot.
have a secret site you don't want to
Nah,
mention?
Amazon's the one. And if I can't get any cheaper than Amazon, I'll look around.
Gotcha.
But
There you
those
go.
are some of the things I like. Sports teams I like is the Warriors,
Yeah.
Niners, and the Giants.
There you
know what
go.
I mean?
Keep it SF.
I'm trying to find more time in my life to be able to go out to the actual games and be
Yeah,
like TJ, like how he
yeah.
does the Raiders. you
Yeah.
know?
Season ticket holder for
Yeah.
all you Raider fans out there.
Oakland Raider fan for life.
Yeah.
But DJ E-Tech, he took out Ricky to,
Oh
to
yeah,
a game
shout out
last
to
year.
E-Tech.
So shout out to
Which game?
E-Tech to
The Raider game?
It
No,
was
to Niner.
it was a Niner game.
Yeah.
He actually he had someone that couldn't make it, and so instead of selling the ticket
Yeah.
to me or whatever, he was like, "Hey man, I'll take you along."
Yeah.
So I went to go.
That's
visit.
nice of him.
I went to go check out the new Niners stadium for the first time.
Right,
Have
right.
you been there?
No, I haven't.
You haven't?
I haven't
No.
been there either. I
Nice
wanna go,
place.
Yeah.
It's so clean. You could damn near eat off the floor. They're up on their technology and stuff like that.
I
But
still
too
miss
bad the
Candlestick.
Niners lost
I
that
miss
day.
Candlestick, yeah.
Oh, they were
Candlestick was
getting
better.
they were getting punked by the Seahawks. Shout out to Marshawn Lynch. Yeah,
Yeah. I'd like to have
He's
Marshawn
loaded.
on the show.
Yeah.
He would be a good. Good.
He's
He
right
stole
down the
someone's
block
hat.
in
I
Oakland.
know,
Yeah.
I know. That's the thing, and that's a great situation with us here being in Oakland. It's right centralized where everything, and like
Yeah.
for you, it's like
Yeah.
just going over the bridge and you're here,
Yeah,
like 20
right,
minutes
exactly.
tops. So
Let me know when you get Khalil Mack on. I'll come through.
for sure. And we're going to talk about this, TJ, because I think you would be a good co-host when we go into miscellaneous stuff. Why not?
Right.
Well, you want to make a trip? Are you close by?
Yeah,
Are you
yeah.
in?
I'm right across the bridge.
There you go. There you go. Can I steal him for a little
Oh
bit?
yeah, it's all good. I'm glad you moved out here to Oakland. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And I don't know if you know that Carolina, she actually lives in your hood.
Yeah.
You know,
Really?
I found a lot of great people out from that.
Well, we got
area
to
of town.
connect.
Yeah.
So she lives out in the city of Antioch,
Okay.
Pittsburgh.
You could ride back with us if you need to. What the fuck?
Carpool,
Wasting
right?
gas. So, well, gentlemen, Carolina, thank you very much. We're going to go ahead and have the shouts and plugs to close out the program, starting with you, Carolina. Any shouts and plugs? Family, friends.
Shout out to family, for all my family and friends.
That's it.
That's
No
about
one
it.
specific.
Names? Any names?
Come on.
No Mr. Carolina. No none of that
off
stuff.
No. That's it.
Okay.
SBC Djs.
There you go. Close it out.
There you go.
Keep it loyal.
West Coast.
All right, Mr. Rick Lee.
Shout out to my whole SBC DJ crew. You know what I'm saying? If I had to go down the list, it'd probably take another 10 years.
I was looking at him
I
like,
was trying to go down
Most
the list.
importantly,
and we-
shout out to Bobby Speed, who's
Big up,
has
Bobby.
helped glue this whole thing, even though he's not here with us.
Rest
you
in
know,
peace.
He's in our hearts. Shout out to my folks over at KMEL, everybody out there, all the all-star DJs. Shout out to the network, go there. And most importantly, shout out to you. Thank you for having us. You know what I'm saying? So
Thank you.
very welcome. Very welcome. TJ.
Big up the crew, SBC DJs, family and friends that support us through all the years, all the ex-SBC members that still support us through all the years, all our friends and family.
All the X's.
Yeah, all the exes.
from the what?
Yeah,
Porno?
yeah,
What?
from the
Palace.
Porno Palace to today, all the VLs.
Sam, you missed the Porno
SSR.
Palace.
You know what?
Yeah.
That's going to be the
You could
show.
ask,
Yeah.
you could ask
Oh, that's-
anybody.
That
Rick
would,
Lee's back on. Exclusive
that
Porn
would-
Palace
just that-
episode.
Just that would be, that's a movie.
That's a whole like segment on your show.
Because there's so many
alone.
crazy
Yeah.
stories. You're talking about Rick Lee walking around naked and people's heads hitting wall. It's just, I don't know what to talk about.
Now
It's
I
just-
have a vision of that an image that is ingrained.
Yeah, that's
What did
why-
you do, TJ?
That's why I bring it up, because I remember being in the dark and I'm like, why is Ricky walking around the room naked? Oh, man. Yeah.
That's awesome.
You can't miss that white ass.
Oh,
in the dark.
right on.
Oh, tan that motherfucker. Tan it.
There was no tan in the fog. But yeah, so shout out SBC. Shout out my boy from Hawaii, IA 808, the Kamana Classic.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. It's still like
So-
daylight over there, and we're freaking darkness.
Yeah. yeah.
Oh, and shout out to Alex Mejia. I seen the show.
Yeah,
last
you
week.
gave shouts.
He was an
Yeah.
important piece from 106 KMEL. We'll go back into that on another level, but
That's right.
shout out to him, and Franzen, Trace, all them, Chewy. What up?
Yeah, what up?
You know what I'm saying? So
Yep. And if you don't know those names, get your weight up here
exactly.
as far as the Bay Area DJs are concerned. All right. I'll go ahead and close out the shouts and plugs. I'd like to thank my boy behind the scenes, Alex Rock Rage. Let's have a big round of
Big up,
applause
Alec.
for making it
wow.
happen.
Can I get a dragon? Extra medium.
He'll hook it up. I'd like to thank our executive producer, Michael Murphy of VW Oakland, for supplying the greatest studio on earth, I think, here,
Yeah.
where everyone's chilling,
Maybe I'll
happen.
come by and get a bug.
There you
Yeah.
go. There you go.
It's nice out here.
I'd like to thank the Slam Show crew that could not make it. All you guys, I love you to death. All the sponsors and affiliates that have supported the Slam Show and TVEPN.com throughout the years. Thank you for all your support. All right, guys, that does it for this episode. We will see you in 2 weeks with another incredible program.
Yeah.
For myself and everyone here, peace.
Peace.
Peace.